Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Spider-Man Miles Morales video and to some extended footage at web swinging and what looks to be the first bit of gameplay that you will get when you play the full game. It starts off with Miles coming out of a cutscene and the user then being prompted to use the right trigger to swing, and is essentially teaching you the basics, which is exactly what it does with the first bit of gameplay of Spider-Man PS4. So Insomniac are following the same route here of how they will get you used to the controls. This new footage is clearly a precursor to last night's footage of Miles and Peter, and then Miles having to face the Rhino in a boss fight. And we immediately get an idea of just how advanced, or in this case, reckless Miles is, because Peter is willing to take control of the situation because he knows with all of his experience how to deal with it, and Miles is desperate to prove himself to Peter, rushes ahead and makes it even worse. And that is clearly a perfect setup for Miles' journey through this game. He will be maturing and this will be his coming of age story. Alongside this new footage, we also got some information and a bit of a bio for Miles Morales for people who aren't too familiar with him. We first off just got what would essentially be his ID card with his name, his height and his weight. And then the two creators, who are Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli, who actually illustrated the cover of this month's Game Informer, which is really cool. And they then give a list of his powers, which of course means all of these powers will be playable in Spider-Man Miles Morales, or they wouldn't bring them up and highlight them so clearly. That would be crazy to get people excited about powers that weren't even going to be in the game. So in Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can expect to experience Miles' superhuman strength, where he is capable of lifting at least 10 tons and can jump to a height of several stories in a single bound, and he has several other powers that are the same as Peter Parker, such as his superhuman speed, stamina, durability, agility, his wall crawling and his spidey sense. But then we've got the Miles specific powers such as his bioelectrokinesis, which to simplify it is his venom powers like his venom blast and venom punch, his energy thread generation, which sounds amazing because it is where he can produce threads of bioelectricity from his hands with the same tensile prehensility of his web fluids. And I have literally just gone and googled what prehensility means, and that is the quality of an appendage or organ that has adapted for grasping or holding. And that means that Miles will be able to produce threads of electricity that will act just like his webs. So say he runs out of web fluid, all he then seemingly has to do is swing on electricity. I don't know how they would latch onto anything. Maybe they come from the clouds, maybe it somehow latches onto buildings but still does some damage. But that sounds unbelievably amazing, and I cannot wait to experience it. We then have his spider camouflage, where he basically becomes invisible, and it has been confirmed that if you are in the middle of combat, you can use spider camouflage to completely disappear. If you then leave the area, the enemies, sure, they'll shoot around a bit blindly, so they may hit you, but you can essentially reset the area into a stealth zone where you can go back into takedowns. So that ability is going to be amazing and will clearly distance Miles from playing just like Peter. And of course his regenerative healing factor. And finally, I wanted to talk about the screenshots that we were shown late last night, and I figured it wasn't quite enough to make a video purely on those screenshots, and so I just hold off until the next Miles news video to then include them. I didn't realise it would just be 24 hours later, but I am incredibly happy that it is. And we have shots of Miles in the track suit, we have Miles swinging, and we have Miles falling, clearly showing his inexperience. We have a look at the amazing new Miles Morales suit that we're going to be able to see based from the comics, and it features a helmet. Imagine Daft Punk with his face projected onto his helmet, or at least his Spider-Man mask, not Miles' legitimate face. We have some beautiful shots at night time, and we have even Miles just on his own sitting on the train, and that will be from a cutscene rather than the fast travel scenes that we saw in Spider-Man PS4, because this game has basically zero loading times, even from fast travel. We have a shot of Miles facing off against the Rhino, which you might recognise as the thumbnail for the last video, and we have one of Miles and Peter swinging together, which you might recognise as the thumbnail of the video before that. We have a shot of the Tinkerer and Miles using his Venom Blast, and all I can say is that these pictures have got me unbelievably excited for the game. Everything looks amazing, the lighting, the ray tracing. This game is going to be phenomenal, even though it's a standalone experience, not of the size or scope of Spider-Man PS4 or the future Spider-Man 2. And that is all for this video. Be sure to go check out the Game Informer article itself. if you want a full backstory of Miles Morales and all information that you'll need to know going into the game. Subscribe and you know when all future videos come out. As I said, I will be covering all Miles Morales news, especially this month with Game Informer getting the exclusive reveals of new gameplay, new powers, new skins, so be sure to stick around for that. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you next time.